Here we are on the Gardeners Corner program, a Friday feature here on WKRX and Channel 10, located on Channel 191 on Charter. We appreciate you tuning in to the Gardeners Corner program today, brought to you by Sandline Golf Cars and T.G. Brooks Company. We are live in the studio today, so if you've got a question for Mr. Carl Cantalupi, feel free to give us a call, 599-0266. And Carl will do his best to answer any question that you may have. The last couple of weeks, we had to pre-record the program due to several things going on. A couple of weeks ago, Carl had to go to West Virginia to make a presentation to a group of people. And then last Friday, he had his specialty crop school. And so he's a busy fella. And so, but we are back live in the studio today. And if you've got a question, feel free to give us a call. Again, 599-0266. Without further ado, please make welcome all the way from the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service, a man that gets up in the morning, looks in the mirror, and just simply says, "Bring it, because I'm ready for it, no matter what it is."
I say, oh no.
Please make welcome Mr. Carl, the Johnny Appleseed of asparagus, Cantalupi.
I don't know how it can get any better, I tell you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Carl, we hadn't hardly, been on the airways no time, and we've got
already
a
got a
telephone
call.
Good thing, good
that's
deal.
Good.
Good morning. Thank you for calling the Gardeners Corner program.
You bet. I have a question for you.
Okay.
What's the best thing to use in your lawn to control mold?
The best thing to use in the lawn to control moles, a harpoon steel trap.
Steel trap is the best.
Yes.
It's a harpoon trap.
Yeah. You have to. We have a good publication at the extension office that we'd like to send to you on moles, and it has good pictures in it so that you'll know how to set the trap properly. Many people say the traps don't work, but it's because they don't know how to set them properly. And
Okay.
so just give us
I appreciate that very much.
all right.
Okay. What Carl was going to say, if you just call up to the extension office, 599-1195, and they'll be glad to send you out that publication, and you can pick up you a harpoon.
I got you. Now, thank you so much.
All right. Appreciate it. All right. Thank you.
That's time delay there.
Anyway, but yes, Carl, and I used to think whenever you would see a lot of mold tunnels in a yard, you would think that you were infested with moles.
Right.
But most cases, it's only one mole.
That's right,
doing
because
all of this damage.
they're solitary creatures, and one mole can really build a large maze of tunnels. Absolutely.
And I know we've had a lot of people to call about the mold problems and things like that. But the harpoon traps, if you set them right, they are pretty much 100% efficient.
That's right.
But we're going to be talking about planting cool season vegetables. Also, it's time for you to be pruning your trees. Now, you can't prune all of them at this time, but like your, fruit-bearing trees and things like that, peach and apple and things like that, you need to go ahead and get that taken care of. And speaking of that, I know this past Saturday you had a fruit tree pruning demonstration here in Roxborough.
Yeah.
But you have one scheduled for tomorrow in Oxford.
That's right. And hopefully the weather's good. I guess keep in touch with the radio station, or turn your radio on tomorrow in case it gets too bad to have the demonstration. I guess they're calling for a lot of rain tomorrow, but who knows?
Yeah. At the last report that I had seen was a 60% chance of rain today, an 80% chance tonight and an 80% chance tomorrow. They say some showers in the morning, then showers likely in the afternoon. And from the weather reports that I've heard, that, it's Saturday, it's not going to be a complete washout. They say it's going to be some periods of rain, and then it will be some, periods without, any rain. So
Yeah.
I guess it depends on the timing of everything. But what time is your
10
10 o'clock?
10 o'clock
Okay.
at 6639 Horner Siding Road. Again, it's 6639 Horner, Horner, Siding, Siding Road. 6639 Horner Siding Road, just north of Oxford. And so if you have a GPS or you can look up Google Maps, you can see where it is. It's right off of Highway 15, a few miles north of Oxford. And so we'll take a look at several different types of fruit trees, as well as grapes and blackberries and figs too.
Yeah.
So
It's not so very far from Webb High School.
right.
And when I say, Webb High School, that it's not far from Horner Siding Road, if you decide that you want to go to the fruit tree pruning demonstration tomorrow morning, when you get down in the area of Webb High School, if you just stop at, any of the convenience stores or wherever, and just tell them you would like to know where Horner Siding Road is at, that's pretty easy to get to.
That's
so
right.
that's a free demonstration, and this is something that Carl does each and every year. And it's, as Carl has said in the past, if you have never pruned trees before, it's a lot easier to do it after you see someone prune trees that knows how to do it properly.
Yeah, once you know how to do it, it's very easy. But a lot of people hesitate because they think, well, I'm not going to prune it because I'm afraid I'm going to kill it, and so as a result, over several years, the tree has never been pruned. And then when a tree gets older, then you have to make some decisions as to how to prune a neglected tree. Sometimes we have to prune it in such a way that's not, the tree is not in the ideal form, but we just kind of have to work with what we have. So in order to minimize that or eliminate that, it's best to take care of your fruit trees once right away after you plant them, and then with regular annual pruning, you can keep the annual growth and the fruit production pretty well year after year. Now there are some apple varieties like the Golden Delicious, for example, that has a tendency to produce fruit in alternate years. This is called biennial bearing. In other words, one year you'll have a lot of apples produced, and the next year you won't have very many. And so with good annual pruning, you can minimize that biennial bearing or that on-off switch. And so that's why pruning is important. And we've gotten a lot of calls in the last few days about people wanting to know how to prune. It's very difficult to do it over the phone. So you really have to go and see someone do it, and once you see someone do it, and once you know the reasons why we prune in a certain way, then people begin to see, and it's very, very easy to do.
Now, Carl, at the pruning demonstration, what is some of the different things that you all will be, pruning?
Apple, pear, peach, cherry, and then we have both muscadine grapes and bunch grapes, and we have them side by side, so it's very easy to distinguish between the two, and then very easy to show the differences in pruning methods between the bunch grape and the muscadine grape. And then we have blackberries there, and fig trees as well. So it's nice when
Good wide variety.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, for those that are planning to attend, is it any kind of things that they need to bring other than the cameras, or
Yeah, they can do that. Wear comfortable shoes or boots, especially the soil's going to be wet, and probably a little bit muddy. And that's all. There's no cost. There's no pre-registration. Just come if you're interested. And we will have publications available, insect and disease control in the home orchard to hand out.
how long, typically long, does the pruning demonstration last?
About 2 hours.
About
Yeah.
2 hours.
Yeah,
Okay.
so from 10 to 12
Okay. And again, that address?
is 6639 Horner Siding Road, just north of Oxford.
Okay. All right, and we're going to jump right in, and we're going to be talking about some cool season vegetables that you can, start planting. Springtime is just about 1 week away, and I know a lot of people are just itching and ready to get out to start working in the garden. And Carl has several different suggestions of things that you could go ahead and start planting.
Right. Well, we're almost on asparagus harvest. The asparagus should be ready to poke its head through the ground right now. And what I have here is a slide of an asparagus crown, and an asparagus crown is a root system of a 1-year-old plant that's grown from seed. And you can see one of the buds on the crown enlarging to form a spear. And so this will produce a spear. Once this spear is harvested, it triggers a secondary bud on the crown that sends up another spear. And then after a while, the spear diameter gets smaller and smaller, so this is why you have to stop harvesting asparagus after a certain amount of time. But this is what you'll receive if you buy crowns from a crown supplier. If you want crowns, just give us a call at the extension office at 599-1195, and we'll send you a list of crown producers. So it's time to plant crowns now, and make sure that you have your soil tested before planting. Make sure the pH is between 6.8 to 7.0. And go ahead and space plant them about 5 to 6 inches deep and no deeper, and about 12 inches apart between plants in the row, and 5 feet between rows. And to keep if you're planting asparagus in the home garden and you're running your rows north-south, it's a good idea to plant the asparagus all the way on the west side of the garden so that it doesn't shade the other vegetables in the garden. If you have other weeds coming in to the planting later on, you can use a grass herbicide known as Poast, P-O-A-S-T. Many people do not realize that asparagus is not in the grass family, but it's in the lily family. So you can use Poast, and it will not kill the asparagus, to control grassy weeds. If you have broadleaf weeds coming in later on, you can use mix the 2,4-D applied as a basal spray. That means you don't contact the fern, but you go out and use a backpack sprayer, and you spray at the base of the fern stalk. So that's a little bit on asparagus. I'm just going to go through here. I think I have some others as I go down here. We can.
Well, Carl, the asparagus plot that you have here in Person County, how many years old is that plot? Do you have any idea?
Yes. That plot was started. Actually, it was started from seedling. It was started from 12-week-old seedling transplants. In other words, most of the varieties that were used were not available as crowns, so I had to start the seed. I had to have someone start the seed for me, and then we planted 12-week-old crowns. So that was in 2005. Being that we started with 12-week-old seedling transplants, we did not take a harvest in 2006. So the first harvest was in 2007. So this will be the 8th harvest year. And expecting a good yield.
Now, how many years do you plan to keep this plot alive?
Until the last horn blows. and,
So for a
and,
long
I, and
time.
I don't know at this at this point. At least a few more years, anyway. Yeah.
Well, now, Carl, I know you have told me that asparagus can get to where it takes a lot of work, and I know you have said, I think it's maybe like July, August, and September. You need to be out there spraying once a week for fungicide.
Yeah, that
spraying the fungicides and things
that
like
comes
that.
later. Yeah, we're actually talking about this on another program, but that we did that we will view in the future on tape. But I have some different slides here on asparagus that I didn't have in the other talk. This is very important, even for the backyard gardener that's planting asparagus. Separate out the crowns that are small. Actually, make 3 piles: small, medium, and large, and plant all the small crowns together, all the medium crowns together, and all the large ones together as well. The reason being is that if you plant a large one next to a small one, the large one is going to overtake the small one and shade it out. So separate out the size of your crown and then plant all similar sized crowns together. This shows, this is on a commercial scale, but a lister plow or middle buster, it makes a trench to plant the asparagus here, as you see. We really don't want to plant any more than 6 inches deep on a sandy soil and 5 inches deep on a clay soil. And research has shown the deeper you plant asparagus, the more you reduce your total yield. So the happy medium is between 5 to 6 inches deep. Once at this stage of the game, you should have added your fertilizer and your limestone before you made your furrow. But another thing you need to do is, after you make your furrow, scatter some triple superphosphate in the furrow before you plant the crowns. You can toss the crowns right on top of the fertilizer. It will not burn. The reason we do this is so that the root system gets a chance to grow right through the phosphorus. Otherwise, phosphorus is an immobile element, so it's got to be placed right where the roots are. If you leave this step out, you can severely hurt your yields in future years. Space the crowns about 12 inches apart in the row, and then about 5 feet between rows. And normally it was not thought that you could do this, but you can cover the row of asparagus up to the original soil line after you plant. What you don't want to do is compact the soil and drive over it, and just leave it loose, and then with good soil moisture, asparagus is up within a week or so. Now, for the people that have asparagus already growing in the garden, now's the time to mow off the dead fern. And it's time now, as soil temperatures are warming up. You want to remove the dead fern growth as low to the ground as possible. And this is important because when you pick asparagus, if you have a lot of the old dead fern stalks sticking up, they're like needles, and you can really skin up your knuckles when you pick asparagus. So mow them off as close to the ground as you can. And then if you have any weeds out there at this time, you can go over the top with Roundup. And as long as there's no spears sticking up, it's fine. Roundup is cleared and labeled for use in asparagus at this time. Some varieties. We have the old Mary Washington variety, which is dioecious. That means you have both male and female plants. They kind of go dormant a little earlier than the New Jersey male hybrids, which stay greener longer. And this is a shot in Illinois. Only 5 months after planting male hybrid varieties, you can see the tremendous vigor of those. And this slide shows the old Mary Washington variety in the middle, and then 2 male hybrid varieties on either side. This is only taken after 3 months, so you can see the vigor here. With asparagus, we have female plants. The female plants produce the berries, the berries drop down, and we have seedling asparagus weed problems. So we select male hybrid varieties that have no seeds produced. Some recommended varieties would include Jersey Giant, Jersey Gem, and Jersey Knight. So let's see here. We will.
Well,
See.
Carl,
Go ahead.
this just kind of popped in my head. When planting an asparagus, plot, it's going to be there a long time.
A long time.
Do you do your soil sampling once a year?
You can do it once a year, and the best time to do it is right after you finish picking.
Okay.
Because then, if you add your fertilizer and lime, it's going to go into the spears coming up, which will change into fern. There's no advantage to fertilizing asparagus this time of the year, because all the buds have been put down on the crown that are going to give you this year's crop. So fertilizing this time of the year won't have any influence on the yield you're gonna harvest.
So the best time to do that is after you have harvested.
After you've harvested and the field is clean, there's no spears there or fern growth, and that's the best time to fertilize. Actually, the field or your garden should look like this during harvest. There should be no spears there except the ones that are coming up or ones that need to be picked. Any little ferny growths that get started, you want to snap off and let lie, because it's very attractive to asparagus beetles. How do we harvest? Well, the best way to harvest asparagus is to snap. When you snap, all the tough fibrous butt portion of the spear stays in the ground. It shrivels up and disintegrates. It does not put up a new spear at that point, but at another bud on the crown. If you harvest asparagus with a knife going below the soil surface, you get that tough white fibrous butt portion that needs to be thrown away, and you also assume the risk of injuring other buds on that crown that are going to be sending up other spears. So harvesting below the ground with a knife is really not recommended. They do that out west, because when you harvest that asparagus and you have that white butt, that serves as a plug to prevent moisture loss through the tip of that spear. And so that's a good reason to do it if you're shipping asparagus long distance. But it doesn't have to be that way. Okay, let's see. Do we have a call here?
We do.
All right.
I think we do. Good morning. Thank you for calling the Gardener's Corner program.
Yes, sir. Is it too late to fertilize your yard for the springtime, or should I already done it? What do you think?
Yeah, fertilizing your lawn is best done in the fall, from September through November. Yeah, I would not fertilize at this time. What you can do this time, especially if you haven't done one in several years, is take soil samples.
Okay.
To find out what you really need.
All righty.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Carl, if you would explain the reason why
Yeah.
it's not a good time to
Okay.
fertilize cool season grasses at this time.
Right, and I just wrote an article on this, and it'll probably be in the Roxborough paper shortly, in a week or so. And I talk about over-fertilizing lawns with nitrogen at this time of the year. You see a lot of national ads from national companies, say that now's the time to fertilize your lawn. Well, that might be true in some parts of the country, but not in the South. If you fertilize cool season grasses like fescue and bluegrass at this time, you produce a very lush, soft, succulent plant. All the nitrogen goes into the leaves and very little into the root. So what you do essentially is you create a top-heavy plant, and this soft, succulent plant, once we get hot temperatures in the summer, the plants start to stress, and then they succumb to brown patch fungus disease. Now, if any of you have had brown patch fungus disease, it starts out as a small brown patch in the lawn and gets larger and larger and gradually kills out most of the lawn. So over-fertilizing with nitrogen aggravates brown patch. So the easiest way to avoid getting brown patches, don't fertilize the lawn in the spring. You might not have the greenest looking lawn in town compared to your neighbor, but once the weather turns hot and dry, he is going to get brown patch, and then he's faced with reseeding the lawn again in the fall. So if you don't want to do that, a word to the wise is leave your fertilization of cool season grasses to the fall, from September throughout November. Take soil samples to know how much fertilizer you need to add and how much limestone you need to add to the soil so that the fertilizer becomes available to the plant.
Okay. Hey, we've got another call. Good morning. Thank you for calling the Gardener's Corner program.
Yes, good morning. I have two questions. Is it about time to do your cutting back your butterfly bushes and your knockout rose bushes?
Yes, butterfly bushes and knockout roses will produce flowers on the brand new growth. So,
Okay.
so you can.
The other question is, I have a yard full of zoysia grass, and it seemed like to me you told me to fertilize it in the middle of summer, which sounds kind of crazy, but am I thinking about it right?
Yes, zoysia and Bermuda grass are warm season grasses. They produce their growth during the hot summer months, and that's when you want to fertilize them. Usually, once a month from in June, July, and August.
Okay. Well, I'm just wondering. I'm 74, and sometimes I get that CRS.
I think we all suffer from that from time to time.
That's right.
Exactly. I really enjoy your program.
All
Have a good day.
Appreciate
you.
the call. Thank you. All righty, we need to get a word on for T.G. Brooks Company, one of our fine supporting sponsors of the Gardener's Corner program. And in a few minutes, we'll be telling you about Sandling Golf Cars, our other sponsor of the Gardener's Corner program. But right now, let's make a trip to downtown Timberlake.
You've waited for them, and they are here. The cooler weather vegetable plants at T.G. Brooks Company. T.G. Brooks Company has cabbage, broccoli, collards, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, and lettuce. Yes, March is the month. Come on down, and you know what? You still have time for a weed-free and healthy lawn by applying pre-emergent weed control, both granular and slow-release fertilizer included. This will provide up to 8 months of weed control on your lawn weeds that make your lawn hard to manage. Transform your lackluster lawn into lush and beautiful landscape. They have plenty of fertilizer, lime, and weed control to get you off to the right spring start, and so that you can have the prettiest lawn and the envy of the neighborhood. They have hardwood and dyed mulches by the scoop and pine mulch by the bag. They have all of the most popular lawn and garden chemicals like insecticides, herbicides, and they have plenty of soils like topsoil, bulk planting soil, potting soil, cow manure, and they have pine needles. They have for sale or rent spreaders, power pluggers, and plenty of tools to do the work, plus nice wheelbarrows. And to further beautify, they have stepping stones and wall stones. There's plenty of friendly advice, too, from years of experience in helping Personians and folks from the surrounding area to beautify their lawns and have healthy gardens. When it comes to your home or property, and whether you are a homeowner or the commercial landscaper, T.G. Brooks Company serves all and gives the same quality service and time to everyone. Remember to finish your workday with a delicious hand-cut ribeye steak from T.G. Brooks Company, prepared on your grill, and your family will appreciate not only what you've done to the yard, but what you have prepared for their dinner. Serving homeowners, farmers, and construction workers since 1936. Famous T.G. Brooks Company. Phone anytime, 364-2428.
Here we are back on the Gardener's Corner program. My name is Rob Hall. Mr. Carl Cantalupi of the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service is our resident expert. We are live in the studio today. If you've got a question for Carl, call 599-0266, and he'll do his best to answer your question. We just heard from T.G. Brooks Company, and we'll get a word on in just a few minutes for Sandling Golf Cars. All we ask, if you have the opportunity, to send some business the way of our fine supporting sponsors, please do so and let them know that you appreciate that support here on the Gardener's Corner program. All righty, we've been talking about planting cool season vegetables. Been talking about asparagus. A lot of other things can be planted at this time, and we'll get into those in just a few minutes. But I think you've got a few more things to say about asparagus.
Yeah, just one thing to kind of finish up with asparagus here. For the people that are viewing this on the TV, we see three spears in the slide, and the question is which spear is the most tender and which is the most tough. Now, the spear on the left is the most tender because the tip is tight. As the tip of the spear starts to loosen up, or as we call fern out, this equates with fiber development in the spear. As the spear tip opens up, you see the tiny fern branchlets start to form. And then this is the time when the woody material, or lignin, is put down in that spear in order to give it the rigidity to hold the weight of the fern. So the tighter the tip, the more tender the spear is, all the way from the tip to the base. And it makes no difference how the size of the spear diameter that you have. In other words, there's no difference in spear toughness between a thick spear and a skinny spear. As long as that tip is tight, that spear is going to remain tender. So the next time you go in the grocery store, just look and see how many spears of asparagus you can see that look like the one on the extreme left. I'll venture to say that you probably won't find many of them looking like that. So this is why if you grow it in your garden, there's nothing like fresh asparagus when that tip is when that entire spear is tender and you have no waste to it at all.
Well, Carl, now with asparagus, you had said the plot that you planted here in Person County. You planted 12-week-old seedlings. You did not plant the crowns.
Crowns, because a lot of the varieties weren't available as crowns.
But when you plant the crowns, you cannot harvest any until the following year, correct?
That's right.
But now, after you have had the asparagus planted several years, the harvest season increases with the age of the plants, so to speak.
That's right. That's a good question, Rob. Good point. During the second year, you can harvest for about 2 weeks. The third year, 4 weeks. The fourth week, 6 weeks. And then during the fifth season, you can harvest for a total of 8 weeks. Now, that's just a general guideline, 2, 4, 6, and 8 weeks. The length of harvest is going to really depend on the condition of the spears. And when about 3/4 of the spears are about 3/4 inches, or I should say pencil-sized diameter, less than 3/8 of an inch, in diameter. When you have about 3/4 of the field or the garden producing pencil-sized spears, it's time to stop harvesting, and that's a better guideline to follow than the 2, 4, 6, 8 rule.
Well, Carl, you have last year brought me some fresh asparagus, and we really enjoyed it.
It's good when it's fresh, yeah.
Can you freeze asparagus?
Oh, sure.
So when you've got all this asparagus, coming in, you can, preserve it for later use then.
Yeah, oh yeah, it freezes well.
Okay.
Yeah.
All righty, we are live in the studio today. We've had several phone calls, had some really good questions. And if you have a question for Carl, please give us a call, 599-0266. We're going to talk about some other cool season vegetables that can be planted now. And once you get your, soil cultivated and ready to plant, go ahead and get started. And you can be enjoying some of these cool season vegetables in the very near future.
That's right. And to get started, we can talk about cabbage. Cabbage is one of the cole crops, spelled C-O-L-E, which comes from the German word kohl, which is spelled K-O-H-L.
And I want to put you on hold there just a minute.
Okay.
You know, I have always heard of coleslaw, and I love slaw.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I did not know until within the last couple of years that, you know, coleslaw, C-O-L-E,
Yeah.
you know, that, you know, cabbage is a part of the cole family. And I was not aware of that. I just thought, you know, maybe they call it coleslaw because most people make it and then refrigerate it.
Exactly, yeah.
But it's not, you know.
Right.
So.
Yeah, the K-O-H-L means cabbage in German. So, you know, when we say coleslaw, we actually mean cabbage slaw. And then kohlrabi, K-O-H-L-R-A-B-I. That's another cool season vegetable. It forms a kind of like a knob-like structure, or a little bulb-like structure above the ground. It's an above the ground ball on the stem. Very easy to grow. It has a flavor that resembles a turnip. But to get back to the meaning of kohlrabi, kohlrabi, translated from the German, means cabbage turnip. So that's what it is.
I've never had kohlrabi, but I know here at the Person County Farmers Market back last season they had you know, some different, you know, cooking demonstrations, and I remember one Saturday there was someone in there that was cooking, you know, and using kohlrabi, and you know, I'm not particularly fond of a cooked turnip. You know, sometimes I'll eat a slice of a raw turnip, but that's about it for me.
Yeah.
But what does the kohlrabi
Kohlrabi is much milder than a turnip. It has, I think, it has a much better flavor. We'll just jump to that for a minute. This kohlrabi is we can call it a new vegetable because it was grown at the end of the 16th century in Germany, England, Italy, Spain, Tripoli, and the Eastern Mediterranean. In the U.S., it was first grown in 1806. It's very easy to grow. And again, it's a German word adopted without change into our language, kohl meaning cabbage and rabi meaning turnip. So it has a turnip-like enlargement of the stem above the ground. And usually you can harvest in 40 to 50 days from transplanting. And this is what they look like. We have the green type on the left and the purple kohlrabi on the right. So those are... you know, that's what you'll find. You don't usually find them in the store that much, except for at certain times of the year. So, but they're very easy to grow as a spring crop and also as a fall crop.
Well, now, Carl, do you cook it as you would turnips?
Yeah, you can boil it, put it in a pot and boil it, or put it in water in a container, and you can microwave it too. You know. And if you want to eat it raw, you can do that as well, because you can peel the outer skin and then just eat the raw kohlrabi underneath. Once they get very large, they get very woody. So you want to be sure that you don't want to let them go too long in the garden. They get woody, and then they'll have a tendency to crack.
All right. If you could answer this question. When you have a cabbage...
Yep.
And you cut the core out of the cabbage. I have, you know, eaten some of that core. And sometimes when you eat the core of the cabbage, it can be a little bit hot.
Okay, yeah.
Have you ever noticed that, Carl?
That could happen. Yeah.
And I mean, but for some reason, you know, the cabbage is not.
No.
You know, hot. Any idea why this is that way?
It could be due to growing conditions, possibly, and maybe certain varieties are more prone to that than others. You know, maybe soil moisture. It probably could be a lot of different things. But yeah.
Well, as I said earlier, I love coleslaw, and I enjoy cooked cabbage. And I guess, they use cabbage in egg rolls. What are some of the other uses for cabbage?
Well, cabbage, that
Sauerkraut?
sauerkraut is pickled cabbage. Yeah.
Yeah.
So sure. But the varieties that are most commonly grown by people include the early Jersey Wakefield. It is a cone-shaped, has a light head, and then we have red cabbage it's a purple color, and Savoy cabbage, which has crinkled leaves. And you can see the three different types here: the early Jersey Wakefield on the left, the red cabbage in the center, and the Savoy cabbage on the right. Cabbage, another type of cabbage. It's actually not in the it's in the Brassica genus, but it's Chinese cabbage, Brassica rapa, and Chinese cabbage or bok choy. It has it's used in stir fry Chinese dishes, and actually tolerates hot weather more so than the other cabbage. Broccoli. One thing to know about this is that once you harvest the central stalk, the plant will produce side shoots in the leaf axils, and we can see that here. You can see the main stalk is cut, and then the broccoli producing side shoots. Many times, if it's planted too early, it can form buttons. In other words, it'll form a premature stalk. And this generally happens when the broccoli and the cauliflower is planted too early, and we get temperatures of 32 degrees or lower over several days. It'll force them to produce this premature head. Cauliflower, we eat the immature flower curd. A desirable head is tight, immature, and not ricey or loose. We blanch the head. That means we use the outer wrapper leaves to shade the developing head to exclude it from the sunlight so that it doesn't turn yellow. Cauliflower here generally does better as a fall crop when we get more cool fall days. It takes about 80 to 90 days to mature, so sometimes we don't have that much time in the spring. This just shows a person tying up the heads of cauliflower to branch the head. Brussels sprouts is another cool season vegetable, but again, that does better as a fall crop because it has a longer maturity. Here you see a plant with the sprouts forming. We talked about kohlrabi. And we also have kale and collards, which are normally, again, planted in the fall. Let's see. Okay, we can talk about radishes too. Radishes can be seeded now in the garden, and we have different types here. We have the cherry, red cherry radish. We have the white icicle types, and then we have the daikon radish, which is an Asian vegetable, which can be grown as well.
Well, now, Carl, it seems to me that maybe you have said in the past that it's a good idea sometimes to have radishes in the garden because they can deter insects.
Yeah, that could be. A lot of times radishes are used as what we call a marker crop, and that is if you're seeding, very fine tiny seeds like carrots, for example. We can seed carrots in the garden, but we want to make sure that we have a loose, sandy, well-drained soil with carrots, especially if you want to plant the long, slender types. Otherwise, the carrots will form forks, and and they'll produce real short, stubby carrots. Okay. But if you're scattering carrot seed in the row, you can mix in radish seeds with the carrots so they mark the row, because radishes be up in no time, where the carrot's going to take a while to germinate.
Right. Okay.
So
okay, that's a good idea.
So
hey, we need to get a word on for Sandling Golf Cars, and after we hear a word from Sandling Golf Cars, we'll be back with more Gardener's Corner program We appreciate you tuning in, and we'll be right back after a word from Sandline Golf Cars in Oxford. Sandline Golf Cars, located 613 Lewis Street in Oxford, invites you to come on down and shop with them Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. until 5:30, Saturdays 9 until 1. Al, Hillary, and Will there to serve you at Sandline Golf Cars. Check them out on the World Wide Web at sandlinegolfcars.com. They're having a closeout sale on all 2014 E-Z-GO and Club Car golf cars with special financing available. Also, if you're in need of an enclosed trailer, a dump trailer, open body utility trailers, or tow dollies, get them at Sandline Golf Cars. They also have Wilmington grills and stock trailers. Payments on stock trailers start as low as $100 per month with approved credit. Head on down to Sandline Golf Cars, located 613 Lewis Street in Oxford. The telephone numbers are 1-800-221-9267 or 919-693-4626. Sandline Golf Cars is located 613 Lewis Street in Oxford. They're your local Club Car and E-Z-GO dealer. So for all of your parts, service, and Trojan batteries, head on down to Sandline Golf Cars. The telephone numbers again, 1-800-221-9267 or 919-693-4626. That's Sandline Golf Cars, 613 Lewis Street in Oxford. Here we are back on the Gardener's Corner program. Want to remind you again of the fruit tree. Let's try that again. Want to remind you again of the fruit tree pruning demonstration. That's going to be tomorrow in Oxford at 10 a.m. That'll be on Saturday, March 14th. And that's going to be taking place on Horner Siding Road.
6639 Horner Siding Road, north of Oxford.
So be sure to check that out. And Carl is going to notify us here at the radio station tomorrow morning should it be canceled due to the rain in the forecast. So the pruning demonstration is to start at 10 o'clock. So if it is canceled, we would have made that announcement by 9:30 on Saturday morning.
Yeah, and then I guess we'll try to have another date planned, but probably won't know that for at least a week or so.
Okay.
So,
well, that's going to about do it for the Gardener's Corner program. One thing I'd like to make mention for those equine owners, going to be having a Coggins clinic tomorrow on March 14th from 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. on Weeks Drive here in Roxborough, right across from the Golden Corral. Coggins will be $25. Special thanks goes out to Mr. Carl Cantalupi of the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service. We appreciate our sponsors, Sandline Golf Cars and T.G. Brooks Company. We want to wish you and yours a happy and safe week, and we will see you next Friday for another edition of the Gardener's Corner program.